Hello. You can find the link to the first video down below. This is the second video, part 2 of two-part series. So we're looking at the spreadsheet that Luca sent, and now that we've converted it to something we can actually use, being able to edit it, move things around, delete, add things, great. The problem now is, how do you get any information that's useful about any of these people? So one way you can do it is you can click on the Gemini icon, AI from Google, and I asked to analyze this data. So it comes up with, I'll start by looking into data. It looks like they're duplicate LinkedIn profiles, so it'll remove them, so on and so forth. Anyway, so far useless. It says your contacts span a wide range of industries, with each of the 24 unique profiles belonging to different industry. This suggests a broad professional network. Okay, again, fluff doesn't mean anything to me. Currently, you have one contact in each of the listed industries. This could indicate opportunities to expand your network within specific sectors that are relevant to your goals. In other words, again, nothing but fluff, nothing specific that I wanted to see. So then I basically put in another comment saying, can you tell me something about each of these people and then tell me how exactly they can positively impact my business? Okay? So then it says, absolutely, let's analyze. And so then it comes up with something that's actually pretty useful. You have all these different people here, and shows basically what industry they're in this column here, industry. And then down on the right side here, it says potential impact for the businesses. For example, if we look at Luca as an example, we'll just use him as the guinea pig today. It says payment solutions assistance with integrating efficient payment systems for your services, networking with financial partners, and understanding payment processing trends relevant to your industry. You know, it's better than before, but obviously not too specific here. Then it figured out that this is me here. It says self Oleg, which is cool. It's got a little deal about that. And then you have basically each person having this tiny little thing. It doesn't really go into a lot of details that I really wanted to see. So with that being the case, I figured, okay, let's forget Gemini and let's jump into something like Relay.app. And in Relay.app, I have something called LinkedIn Profile Eval. It's a workflow that I set up a few days ago. As you can see at the top, it says I ran out of my free credits, so I won't be able to actually run it to show you, but it definitely works. I'll show you output. You'll see it definitely works. So let's go through this thing one step at a time and see exactly what I did. So I told it I want to go ahead and run this process daily. That's this initial trigger thing. Okay, so if you don't know what Relay.app is, it's a workflow automation system which allows you to take a bunch of apps and use information in them in a way where you can relate the information in one step from another previous step, and then you can do something with it depending on what these apps are. And then you can automate things by having these steps right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to actually do something with all this data. So you're referencing data in prior steps, doing something with it using this particular app, and then you're accomplishing your end result. So it's, again, workflow automation system, not agent creation system, even though some people say that, but it's kind of like an agent, basically allowing you to create automations that you can run either manually or automatically, like in this case, set up to run on a daily basis once a day. Okay, so if you don't know about Relay.app, you can check out other videos. They have some excellent tutorial videos from the company itself. And the URL again is Relay.app, Relay.app. And the gentleman who runs the show, who created this whole thing, one of the founders, Jacob Bank, does an excellent job with his videos. And he basically does these step-by-step building videos where he works on a specific topic, and it shows you exactly how to build something using Relay.app. Really good stuff. So if you're interested in automation, definitely check it out. So what I did here was this. I said run it daily. I said find rows in this particular spreadsheet. And this particular spreadsheet is the spreadsheet you were just looking at from Luca. Okay? So it doesn't do anything else. It just says return all the rows and get all of them. Now this has a limit of 50 rows. In my case, it's only 25, 26, so it's not going to be a problem, but just keep that in mind. That does have a limitation. There is ways to get around it, but for now it's 50 rows max to get this thing. So we're saying get all of our rows, and then they have this box here, this little purple thing. It's called an iterator. It's basically what we're trying to say here is we're going to be going through these steps here, this 4, 5, 6, and 7, in a circle, in a repeating fashion, in other words. We're going to be running 4, 5, 6, 7, then 4, 5, 6, 7, then 4, 5, 6, 7 for every single row. See, it says for each row in step 2 rows, meaning for each row in step number 2, which is all of our contexts in that particular spreadsheet, one row at a time, we want to run, and for each row, we want to execute these instructions here. That's what it means in English. And so what are these instructions? Number 1, it says extract from the current row. That's what this little sign means, current row, using Gemini 2.0 Flash. Now, the reason I picked Gemini 2.0 is because it's cheap. So when you're talking about using AI credits, which this would use, then it's cheaper than using like OpenAI, for example, or some other ones. Gemini 2.0 Flash is pretty inexpensive. So you can substitute, as you can see, they allow you to use any major providers here. You can use Anthropic, you can use this, and they show you kind of on the right side approximately how much will it cost. Not specific dollar amount, but just not expensive, more expensive, and most expensive. That's what these dollar signs mean. And you can tell from each one of these exactly what it will take. And the cheapest would be like OpenAI 4.1 mini. You can use that. Gemini would be 2.0 Flash. Anthropic doesn't really have $1 sign at all, but it has more potent models. So anyway, the model itself is not that relevant except for the cost, and some models do better job than others, so you have to play with it and try it and see what works best for you. But you can change it anytime. So that's, once you set it up and it's working, then you can always go back and change it. So in terms of data to extract, I said, just get me the LinkedIn URL from the spreadsheet. From that one row, we have all these fields. The only thing I really care about is LinkedIn URL, okay? And then of course you can also test each step as you do these things. Once it extracts the LinkedIn URL, next step here, it says, jump to LinkedIn profile for that particular URL. See the URL that was received in step number 4 here, which is where we extracted the LinkedIn profile URL. Now we want to jump in there and get the information from there, basically, okay? And if we don't find profiles from that URL, we want to continue without doing anything. Then the next thing that happens is we have another AI prompt, and this way we're just basically going to prompt it ourselves. This is the key to this whole process. This particular step is the key because it does all the heavy duty lifting. And so what it does is it says, the prompt itself that we're sending to Gemini here, it says, check out this profile, because we already know we have the profile. Create a short summary overview with 5 biggest accomplishments and top 5 skills, and suggest how, if at all, this individual could be beneficial to PCS in terms of IT, internet, and related, or AI. Also extract their contact info if available and show it as part of the summary, okay? So here are the fields I'm bringing in. I want to have the name, I want to have the website, I want to have the profile. So all of these things I'm bringing in as data for it to work with as it's trying to make things happen. And so it's just going to come up with this overview for us. And on the right side, it shows you some of the fields you can access and things like that. So that's basically it. But the main thing here is this top part. This first part is about creating 5 biggest accomplishments, 5 top skills for each one, and then what are the benefits to PCS, my company, for this particular person, okay? Once that runs, which is step 6 here, then the final step is, now that we got our summary with all the details, I just want to send myself an email identifying this particular person. So I'm saying, send email from, it doesn't matter, because from me is fine in this case, and send it to myself. I don't want to go anywhere else. And it says LinkedIn profile for first name, last name, which we identified in step number 5 as the fields. So it just will say that, and then it's got the body. It's just summary of biggest accomplishments, skills, and potential benefits. So we have these 3 areas here, segregated like this with the lines and space, and then possibly contact information if it's available. And that's it. That's all we're specifying for this last step. So when we actually run it, this whole process gets run, it takes about 5-6 minutes to run. So it's not instantaneous, but it's fast enough. then you end up having emails that look like, let me see here. Then let's go ahead and put in search for LinkedIn profile 4 and hit enter, and we get all these different profiles. And so let's say we want to pull up, let's find Luca here somewhere in here. Here's Luca. There's Luca right next to me. Okay. So here we have profile for Luca. Let's make this a little bit bigger, easier to read. And as you can see here on the right side, it has a lot more information. Top 5 accomplishments, it lists all 5 like I asked it to. And you can see it says founded and works at ePayments, leading payment processing company, tells it basically what it does. Build strong professional network, created speed networking platform, payment technology innovation, customer engagement. So in other words, it gives me a lot more information about Luca than just that Gemini did before. Over here, it goes ahead and shows top 5 of his core skills. And they're customer relationship management, leadership and management, sales and marketing, problem-solving strategy. So that's useful for figuring out what to do. And most important to me, what I want to see is this potential benefits to PCS, to my company. So this is where it breaks it down. Again, not anything huge, it breaks it down to these different categories, subcategories, where you can read this and you can figure out, do you want to deal with this gentleman or not? And over here is this contact info. We got his email, but we don't have his phone. But I can certainly email him and take it from there. Okay? So that's an example of what each of these things generates. If we look at profile, for example, for, let's say, Richard Brooks, over here it says that he founded RevHub, 50 plus years business career. Man, he even has more years than I do. Successfully transitioned to entrepreneurship, developed voice search expertise, and created a dual product business model. So he talks about all these different things a little bit here. He's got 5 top skills here. And of course, in terms of benefits to PCS, this is where it talks about these things. So the bottom line being, no matter which of these profiles I pull up, it's the same thing. It gives me some of the basic details about what it is that they do in terms of skills, and then how it can benefit me, if at all. But at the same time, in this case, there's a good example for this. For Rodolfo Giorgiantonio, gentleman, it says, based on available profile, Rodolfo does not appear to have direct experience or skills with IT, internet technologies, or AI. His expertise is entirely focused on financial services, insurance, and wealth management. And it says, however, potential direct benefits could include, and so it lists those, and it says, note, this individual will not be a suitable candidate for technical IT, internet, or AI roles at PCS. So it actually tells you, for some of the people who would not be useful for me in my company, that that's its assessment. Now, whether I want to do something with it or not is up to me, but the bottom line being that I can actually get this really valuable information by just running this process that takes 5 minutes to run after every meeting that Luca conducts. And then I have a bunch of these emails that I can then look through and take appropriate action on in terms of following up or not following up and things like that. So I think it's a super useful and valuable piece of automation software, if you will, that anybody can use. I mean, anybody can set up exactly what I set up here. And this particular example here, you could probably do 4 or 5 of these on their free account for Relay.app. If you find this useful, I would certainly encourage you to subscribe. I think their initial monthly plan starts at less than $25 a month. And considering how much time you're saving, because obviously I could take the list from Luca on his spreadsheet, and he's got links to LinkedIn profiles, and I could click on each entry there and go and try to assess myself whether this particular individual is going to be beneficial or not beneficial. Should I reach out to do a follow-up with them or not? Because if you think about the meetings that Luca conducts, these are done in a half-hour formats once a week, and then you get to meet maybe 3 to 4 people during that time, and that's it. So even though there were 26 people on this list initially, I only talked to 4 of them. So first of all, there's not enough time, so that's one problem, to try to figure things out in a more detailed fashion. Number one. Number two, a lot of people just do their pitches. They don't really tell you, how it could benefit you in any way, shape, or form. So that's another problem. And then another problem is that out of 26, I only spoke to 3 or 4. Okay, so you're missing vast majority of people that are there in this meeting because of the nature of how these things are conducted. So to me, getting this list from Luca is super, super useful because that's at least your entry point. But to make it extremely useful and valuable, then you go through these steps like I mentioned. You make a spreadsheet out of it, actual readable spreadsheet, not just read-only spreadsheet, but actual editable spreadsheet. And then once you get it, then you can run a process like this Relay.app process to get AI to help you determine what exactly each person you've talked to and didn't talk to does, what their skills and what their benefits are, accomplishments are, and then at the same time benefits to your company, which would be obviously different than benefits to my company. And then if this process is something you set up once, and you just simply run this 5-minute process after each meeting that you're going to, each of those networking meetings with Luca. And the benefits, I don't have to tell you what the benefits are. You can figure this out yourself. But the time savings is tremendous. I mean, outside of all the other benefits, you can imagine how long it would take you to go through 26 profiles on LinkedIn, try to figure out exactly what they are and what they do and all the details, look at their posts and look at their details about their profile. I mean, it would take you a long time to do this. It's certainly going to take you a lot more than 5 minutes. So this is a way how you can shrink the time and still accomplish even more than you would have accomplished potentially yourself. And I think it's super useful and beneficial. So if you're looking to automate other things, obviously you can use it for automation in other areas as well of your business. And the Relay.app is not the only player in town, but it's certainly one of the better ones in my opinion out there. And I realized I ran out of the free tokens here, but that's a separate story for another day. But I would definitely recommend you take a look at Relay.app. And if you have any questions or if you need any automation done that you'd like PCS to help you with, certainly reach out and leave the questions down below. And until next time, I'm Oleg.